वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
So we are continuing our reading and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha. The Pandavas retired timely. Canto 1, chapter 15, we are text number 9. So again, this is a very long verse, so we will sing it in the Govindam tune. Yatte jasa nripa shirongrim ahanmakartham.
Yatte jasa nripo shirongrim ahanmakartham.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Aryo yudastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Tenarita pramatanatha makhaya bhupa.
Tenarita pramatanatha makhaya bhupa.
Yanmochita tad anayan balimadbharat adbharete.
Yanmochita tad anayan balimadbharete.
Yatte jasa nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Yatte jasa nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Enarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa.
Enarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa.
Yanmochitastadanayan malim adbharete.
Yanmochitastadanayan malim adbharete.
Yatte jasa nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Yatte jasa nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Enarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa.
Enarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa.
Yanmochitastada anayan balim adbharete.
Yanmochitastadanayan balim adbharete. Yatte jasa nripasiro nirgrim ahanmakhartham. Yatte jasa nripasiro nirgrim ahanmakhartham. Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvavirya. Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha. Tenarita pramatanatha makhaya bhupa. Tenarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa. Yanmochitastad anayan balim adbharete. Yanmochitastad anayan balim adbharete.
Yatte jasan nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Yatte jasa nripashirongrim ahanmakhartham.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattvaviryaha.
Tenarita pramatanatha makhaya bhupa.
Tenarita pramathanatha makhaya bhupa.
Yanmochitastadanayan balim adbharete.
Yanmochitastadanayan balim adbharete. Yattejasa nipusironikim ahanamakartam.
Yatejasam nipasirom brikamahamakaratam.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Tena rita pramatha natha makhaya bhupa.
Tena rita pramata natha makhaya bhupa.
Yanmo chitastadanayan balim advarete.
Yanmo chitastadanayan balim advarete.
Vaishnavis.
Yatejasani pashiram mahanmakartam.
Yatejasani pasirani mahanmakartam.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Tena ritapa matanata makaya bhupa.
Tena rita pramatanata makhaya bhuta. Yanmo chitastadanayan balim advarete.
Yatejasani pashiram brimahanmakartam.
Yatejasani pasirani mahanmakartam.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva viryaha.
Tena rita pramatanata makhaya bhupa.
Tena rita pramata natha makhaya bhupa.
Yatmo chitastadanayan balimadvarete.
Yanmo chitastadanayan balim advarete.
Anyone else? Okay, look for word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose?
Whose?
Tejasa.
Tejasa.
By influence.
By influence.
Nripa Shira Angrir.
Nirvana Shira Angrim.
One whose feet are adored by the heads of kings.
One whose feet are adored by the heads of kings.
Ahan.
Aham.
Killed.
Kill.
Makha Artham.
Makhatam.
For the sacrifice.
For the sacrifice.
Aryaha.
Arayana.
Respectable.
Respectable.
Anujaha.
Anujana.
Younger brother.
Younger brother.
Tava.
Tava.
Your.
Your.
Gaja Ayuta.
Gaja Ayuta.
10,000 elephants.
10,000 elephants.
Satvaviryaha.
Sasagavira.
Powerful existence.
Powerful existence.
Tena.
Tena.
By him. Aharitaha.
Aritaha.
Collected.
Collected.
Pramatanaka.
Pramatanaka.
The Lord of the ghosts.
The Lord of the ghosts.
Mahabhairav.
Mahabhairava.
Makhaya.
Makhaya.
For sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Bhupaha.
Bhupaha.
Kings.
Kings.
Yat mochitaha.
Yamochitaha.
By whom they were released.
By whom they were released.
Tat anayan. All of them.
All of them.
Brought.
Brought.
Balin. Taxes. Advare.
Advare.
Presented.
Presented.
Te.
Hey.
Your.
Your.
Translation. Your. And who's speaking here? Arjuna is replying to Yudhishthira Maharaj in reply to his inquiries. Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairav Yajna, but they were thus released. Later, they paid tribute to your majesty. Please repeat. Your respectable younger brother,
Your respectable younger brother,
who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants,
Possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants.
killed by his grace
killed by his grace,
Jarasandha,
Jarasandha,
whose feet were worshipped by many kings.
whose feet were worshipped by many kings.
These kings have been brought for sacrifice
These kings have brought for sacrifice.
in Jarasandha's Mahabhairav Yajna,
In Jarasandha's Mahabhairav,
but they were thus released.
they were thus released.
Later they paid tribute to your majesty.
Later they paid tribute to your majesty.
So, killed by his grace, here is who? Krishna. That's right. So, Arjuna is extolling the virtues of the Lord even while explaining many things in reply to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And we have the purport here by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. It's a very long purport. So, bear with me. Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadratha, was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son, although he married 2 daughters of the king of Kashi. Being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the 2 queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest, he was benedicted by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him 1 mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the right time approached, the queens delivered 1 child in 2 parts, 1 from each of the queen's wombs. The 2 parts were thrown in the forest, where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the 2 parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with a nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarasandha was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachitti, the saint by whose benedictions the queens bore the child was called Chandrakaushik, who foretold of the child before his father Brihadratha. Since he possessed demoniac qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, who is the lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravan was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and so also King Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairava, Shiva, and by his military power he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher them before Mahabhairava. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairava or Kal Bhairav in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha. Jarasandha was a relative of Kamsa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore, after Kamsa's death, King Jarasandha became a great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhima and Arjun together went to Jarasandha in the dress of poor brahmanas and begged charity from King Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any brahmana, and he performed many sacrifices also. Yet he was not on a par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhima and Arjun asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhima only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhima and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. Bhima became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasandha's being joined together as an infant, and thus Bhima dissected him again and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairava were thus released by Bhima. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthira. So there are so many points over here to note. And I will focus on just a few because otherwise we'll be here all day. The class will go on forever.
And?
So,
And
there'll be more and more Krishna Katha and more nectar. So, yes, so Jarasandha, you can see, was born in a very unusual way. Two hands join together and becomes a child who regains his life. And then he is blessed by Lord Shiva because he takes to the worship of Lord Shiva and he becomes an extremely powerful king. So much so that he goes around defeating many small kings and bringing them in front of Lord Shiva and chopping off their heads to offer as an offering to Shiva. This used to be the practice, and some of them would offer to Durga like that, and some of them would offer to Shiva like that. So these poor kings, just imagine, they're getting slaughtered right, left, center by Jarasandha, and because he's so powerful, they can do nothing. But who is more powerful than everyone? Krishna! He can do anything. So, when he becomes an enemy of Krishna, simply because he is friendly with Kamsa and Krishna kills Kamsa, what does Jarasandha do? I will kill Krishna. Which is extremely foolhardy. So he attacks him how many times?
17.
That's right. And every time Krishna somehow or the other says, okay, I'm just going to, when will this guy learn? And so Krishna finally says, okay, I'll kill this king, but I don't want his soldiers to be killed. Why unnecessarily kill all those people? So he hatches a plan. What does he do? He says, let Bhima, Arjuna and myself go to his kingdom and then in the guise of Brahmanas we'll beg for charity. And that charity will be, let's have a fight. Now in those days, Kshatriyas would never refuse a challenge. They would never refuse charity. If you look at the qualities of Kshatriyas, they're very valorous. They're extremely brave. They're very determined. They're very courageous. And they never refuse a fight. They never refuse a challenge. It was like, yes, I will either die or I will win. Only two things. So they were extremely valorous. And so when Jarasandha saw these poor Brahmanas as righteous, they would uphold the Vedic culture. So they would invite them, they would prepare a nice place for them to stay. They were treated as guests of the court. And he said, what can I do to serve you? What can I do to make you happy? Because the king took great pride in delighting whoever came to him. You want sacrifice? You want wealth? I'll give you wealth. You want land? I'll give you land. You want jewelry? I'll give you jewelry. It was quite common. The kings would just, out of joy, at a beautiful performance or something, they would take off their pearl necklaces and throw it to the artists. It was very common. In fact, my mother still recalls that when she was a little child, the Maharaja of Mysore would come out in his palanquin on an elephant and he would throw gold coins to the common people. This was a long time ago, of course, and it's questionable whether they were, gold-plated or real gold, but, it used to be there. Now, of course, all these things are no longer there, but in the olden days, the kings were extremely wealthy, and they would be very generous in distributing that wealth and giving the wealth to the citizens as they deserved. So Jarasandha, as a very hospitable king, he said, yes, what do you want? And then they said, we want to fight. Jarasandha said, okay, I agree. So Bhima and King Jarasandha were fighting for a long time, but Bhima couldn't defeat him. And then of course, what does a devotee do in times of distress? Krishna, help! So immediately Krishna gave him a sign. He took a straw and he just dissected it into two, and that's how Bhima got the hint. That's what he's supposed to do. So he took Jarasandha by the legs and he tore him apart. And he threw him down. But the two guys joined again together and became whole. So he was like, what's happening? Then Krishna again gave him another hint. He said, dissect and throw one side and throw the other side. And then when Bhima did that, Jarasandha was finished. So Krishna is always looking out for his devotees. And he would have looked after Jarasan had he surrendered in devotional service. So you can see here it is very clearly mentioned that Jarasan was very powerful, very, very powerful. But he was not on a par with devotional service. I'll read the exact sentence. Jarasan never refused charity to any Brahmana. He performed many sacrifices also, yet he was not on a par with devotional service. So you see how high, how exalted is this position that we have been given to engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And again, this has simply happened by the unbelievable, unfathomable, immeasurable mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the Commander-in-Chief of Lord Chaitanya, who came to give us the back home, back to Godhead. So in olden days, they were worshipping, so many demons were being worshipped, so many demigods were being worshipped, and people became very powerful by these things. But still, they were unable to attain devotional service. So this is a very rare opportunity for us to engage in devotional service and actually go back home, back to Godhead, which is our home. This place is called what? Matyalok. That's right. What is the meaning of Matyalok? Death, Loka. Planet of death, exactly. Here we have only birth, diseases, old age and death. Again and again and again. I'm never tired of saying this, that this is not a nice place. This is a horrible place. The Kalaya Ashashwata. The only happiness we have is engaging in devotional service to the Lord. That is the only happiness, because that is directly Krishna's internal energy, his Ladini Shakti, his internal potency. And so when we engage in devotional service, we come under that energy, we come under the divine energy. We are no longer subjected to the whips of Maya. Daivihi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya ye yatha mam prapadyante maya vetam karantite. What is that Krishna is saying in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Daivihi esha gunamai. This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond. This material ocean in which we have been swimming endlessly, swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming, exhausted, wondering where is the end in sight, becomes reduced to the size of the hoof print of a calf. Even a child can jump across that small amount of water, right? Imagine the ocean shrinking into a small calf hoof print. That's all. And you just cross over it. So it has become so simple because the boat of Vedic knowledge, which Srila Prabhupada as the captain has come to save us. Do we want to keep on swimming endlessly, or do we want to climb onto that boat? What do we want? You want to get on the boat and finally get some prasadam and finally get to hear some kirtanam and sail majestically across the seas, completely safe and secure, simply because we are being guided by Srila Prabhupada's instructions. That is the key. We have to surrender. Surrender is sweet when we surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we surrender to Maya, we just get kicked around. It's not sweet. It's painful, right? And so every time we choose Krishna over Maya, we are making progress towards the lotus feet of the Lord. And Krishna wants us back in the spiritual world. He loves us. He's just waiting. Oh, my poor spirit soul, how long you have languished, how long you have suffered in the material world. I'm waiting for you. Come back to me. Where there is eternal love, eternal bliss, eternal joy of loving me. So this dormant love is there in our hearts, in everyone's heart, in every living entity's heart. But we, in the human form of life, have this wonderful opportunity to bring it to fruition, to bring it to complete blossoming. We don't have to be suffering under the whiplashes of Maya. We can simply surrender and take complete shelter. And the Lord says, one who has taken shelter of me, I give him all protection. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mukshayashyami ma suchaha. Don't worry. Do not hesitate. Do not fear. I am here and I will take care of you. And Krishna reciprocates according to our surrender. Ye yatha mam prapandade tamstateva vajamyaham. As they surrender, I reward them accordingly. So more and more our surrender, more and more we are protected. And more is the loving exchange we have with the Lord. How can it get better than this? What more do we want? Srila Prabhupada says, and if Krishna looks on you and smiles on you, what more you want? Everything is there. So we have to put Krishna first. When we put Krishna first, everything follows. We don't have to run after other things separately, because when you get Krishna, you get everything. But if we run after Lakshmi, forgetting Narayan, we lose both. My Guru Maharaj says this, that if we run after the spiritual, automatically we get the material. We don't have to strive for it separately. It comes automatically. No need to struggle. But if we run after Lakshmi, forgetting Narayan, we run after the material, we lose both. Double whammy. So why not get double gift, right? What is that nowadays? They have buy one, get one free, buy two, get three free, whatnot. Here, we don't have to do anything. We just have to love Krishna. And isn't Krishna the most lovable? He's so sweet. He's so wonderful. He's so caring. He's so kind. He's so considerate. He's so concerned. Every moment, Krishna is looking out for us. The thing is, we are not looking out for Krishna's shelter. We are looking for shelter in all the dur ashrayas, in all the other things of this world. My fat bank balance, my parents, my child, my husband, my wife, my bosses, my colleagues, my position in the company, my this, my that. We are holding on to all these ephemeral, temporary things, which any moment, like a lotus, like a water drop on a lotus feet, Jivana Talamala, any moment, gone. We see it all the time happening, and yet we don't get it. And that is why the Shastras are saying over and over and over again, we have to hear. We have to hear. The intelligent man learns by hearing. First class intelligence. By hearing from the Shastra. Srila Prabhupada has come all the way down from the spiritual world to the horrible material place simply to save us. What did Vipujya Prabhu say the other day? He has come to save us. So when we take those instructions seriously, our life becomes smoother. There's less obstacle, there's less chances for Maya to kick us. But if you're not willing to be first class intelligent, we may have to get a few kicks before we listen. The second class intelligent, he learns by seeing and hearing. And the third class, they see, they hear, and still they don't get. They have to suffer repeatedly. So why should we suffer? Is there any enjoyment in that? None. So why not take to the path of Krishna consciousness in full surrender, aim for pure devotional service, and get all the protection we need, and get all our needs met? Nothing is denied to you. Everything will come. Why should we fear? Krishna is our loving Father. He wants to take care of us. We don't let Him. We want to play mini gods. I know. I've got it figured out. I can fix it. I'm in control. I know everything. I am powerful. So much have I now, so much will I have in future, and it will increase more and more and more. I have defeated them, they are my enemies, I have powerful relatives, etc., etc. Oh, this is the way Maya will lure us. She will enchant us. She will promise so many things. But she doesn't deliver. And not only that, she gives us a good kick for falling for her allurement. So the trident is there to give us kicks and push us towards Krishna. So why should we keep on getting kicked? Why not simply say, yes, Krishna, I got it, I got it. I'll do what you say. I know this is good for me. And become joyful. Ultimately, we want to be joyful. Anandamayo bhyasat. The soul is only searching for happiness. But there is no happiness in this material world. Sorry, boss, looking in the wrong place. But if you look in the right place, we will find it. And that is Krishna's service, Krishna's devotees, Krishna's merciful, loving care. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Swaranam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Padasevanam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 processes of devotional service. And when we sincerely engage in this devotional service, nothing to fear. Prahlad Maharaj says that. Don't waste time. Happiness will come, distress will come. Why look for happiness? Happiness is just one lottery ticket away. I'm going to strive for it. Happiness is just one relationship away. Let me strive for that. Happiness is just one promotion away. Let me strive for that. And then what happens? Disappointment. But why not strive for Krishna's lotus feet? The best place to be. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam vam visame bhavam udav kripiya tava pada pankaj stita duli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or the other I have fallen into this horrible ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. So that's all there is. We have to surrender and Krishna will take care of everything. We do not have to struggle separately. We do not have to endeavor separately. In fact, our devotional service gets spoiled. In the Nectar of Instruction we have that. One's devotional service is spoiled by what? These 6 things. Overeating, over-collecting, atyahara prayasa, right? Over-endeavoring for mundane things, working too hard for things that are very difficult to obtain, taking the association of non-devotees, not following the path, and then accepting rules and regulations just for the sake of it, not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or neglecting and acting independently and whimsically. So all these things are clearly given. The Nectar of Instruction is there to guide us. We take these instructions seriously and make our devotional service very robust, very strong. A Bhakti Lata beech is no longer a weakling, no longer a creeper that is, shaking at everything. It becomes like a strong oak tree with deep roots going deep, deep down, so that no matter what happens, because the material energy is always going to throw something at us, guaranteed, we are not shaken. We just simply brush it off. What? Because matra sparshas kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agama payano nityas tam titikshasva bharata. This coming and going of happiness and distress is like the coming and going of the seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharat, and one should learn to tolerate them without getting disturbed. So, no need to worry about these things. Happiness will also come after that. Misery, happiness. Happiness, misery. It's going to follow. But this is all material. It's on the material level. It has nothing to do with the spirit soul. Prahlad Maharaj says this. Why should you strive for happiness? Why should you waste time? Our every endeavor should be, how can I get closer to Krishna's lotus feet? We should simply strive for pure devotional service. That's all. Bas, finished. Nothing else. There's no need. Everything else will automatically come. Our karma, our whatever activities, whatever we have done, it's all there. It's all going to come anyway. Why waste time in unnecessary endeavor when every moment is so precious that it's not going to come back again for millions of dollars? So, I came across something very wonderful and I'm going to read that out to you before we end the class. Would you like to do that? It's by Radhanath Maharaj.
Sure.
Would you like to hear? It's beautiful. Okay? And this is Radhanath Maharaj speaking. Urgency to surrender to Krishna by His Holiness Radhanath Swami. Srila Prabhupada stressed the urgency to surrender to Krishna. Every line of his books, every sentence of his tapes, you would hear him urgently, just pleading with you and me to take Krishna consciousness seriously. Death, tragedy can come at any moment. And the greatest tragedy is that our faith is stolen away by Maya and her various representatives, which can come in many forms, including devotional service, by the way. That's not here, I'm just saying it. There is no comfortable position where we are secure in material existence. We are just like a drop of water on the lotus leaf. Our life is compared to that. Our position in society, our health, our family members, our friends, everything in this world that exists is like a drop of water on the lotus leaf. It is going to fall, and we don't know when. It often happens at the least expected moment. Srila Prabhupada used the example of the goats that are on the way to the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse person is very expert at pacifying the goats so that they very happily and peacefully go to the chopping block by providing them nice grass. The line of goats, they are just eating the grass and they are enjoying, and the closer they get, the grass gets nicer and nicer. The goats in front of them are getting their heads cut off, but they don't see that. They just see the grass. Srila Prabhupada said, this is how Maya is orchestrating the entire material existence. Don't be a foolish goat and enjoy the comforts of this world, the comforts of family life, or a nice little floor in the brahmachari ashram. We should know that any facility to enjoy this material world is Maya's trick to somehow or the other distract us away from the urgent need to become Krishna conscious. Listen carefully to Srila Prabhupada's voice when you listen to his lectures. There is always that deep sense of trying to give us the feeling of urgency. It has to be done now. We have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to surrender to Krishna. We have to give up our petty disagreements and work together because the world is being condemned by the direction of modern society. Srila Prabhupada's miracle was that he gave everybody the chance to become Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada ki. And those who heard his voice and somehow or other connected with that urgency, they became empowered. They were lazy hippies sleeping on the streets, never worked a day in their life. Then, by contact with Srila Prabhupada, they were out distributing books 15 hours a day outside in the blizzard winters of New York City. And the only reason they came home is for Mangalarti to chant their rounds. They did this for years. In the American cities and airports where practically no one is favorable, they risked their lives, sometimes getting beaten up, blasphemed, but they were so enthusiastic. How did Srila Prabhupada transform these people? Because he gave them that sense of the urgency to surrender to Krishna. If we are convinced of the urgency to take Srila Prabhupada's message to heart today, Srila Prabhupada will empower us to do incredible things. I remember when I was a pujari, I was very happy doing deity worship day and night, year after year. But I would always read Srila Prabhupada's books, hear his tapes, and hear about how Srila Prabhupada is so eager for us to preach. So I was praying to the deities. I am very grateful to worship you. But my Guru Maharaj keeps talking about preaching. Ultimately, I want to please him. I don't know what preaching is, but I want to please him. So whatever you think is best. And sometime later, I was given an order. We need more devotees in the temple. Go out and preach. I never an old blanket from World War II army that had holes in it. I was told to preach. Very little education. I went to a college, and here I was in university speaking to PhD candidates, professors, and they would be sitting in rapt attention, challenging and being defeated. And I was thinking, what's happening? Who's doing it? I'm such a fool. I don't know much. But somehow or other, if we feel that urgency, Srila Prabhupada could do everything through any one of us. End of quote. So I want to quote Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Don't think you are so small that you cannot perform miracles. Every one of us can do this. Every one of us here in this room can and must do our very best for Srila Prabhupada. The sky is the limit. The sky, not the sky. Nothing is the limit. Each and every one of us has the power. We only have to get connected in a very deep, meaningful way, full of surrender, saying, my dear Lord, my life is yours. Do with me as you please. Set it on fire. Let all the calamities come. I simply want to glorify you and just see what's going to happen in your life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. So I was just wondering, jara, that's the word for old age. I was wondering if it's like the personification of old age. There are personalities that are...
Jarasandha. I wouldn't know Prabhu because you see, I had a completely Western education. So really, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that's how I know even this much what little I know. I have no idea of the Sanskrit root of words or exactly how that goes. But it's worth researching. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Madhava Priya.
I have another wondering question.
Yes.
Notice that Krishna wiped out Jarasandha's armies 17 times without wiping him out. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't want to kill Jarasandha's men, just Jarasandha. I think that's a curious thing. Anybody know why? What changed?
Only Krishna knows. But Krishna can do anything. And Krishna does anything.
There's some reason that
yes,
they want to do it differently this time.
Krishna has an idea.
Okay. Yes, Father Krishna.
I was talking that with someone, and I think I might have read that or heard somewhere how Krishna can perform many tasks at one time. And in Bhagavad Gita it says he comes to protect the pious, annihilate miscreants, and reestablish the principles of religion. The Jarasandha so kindly is giving all these demoniac forces so many times, at one time and time and time. But Krishna is so wonderful in that he's performing many tasks, but he's also performing that task of, getting rid of all the demoniac persons in that situation where they were in that time. So that's
But Madhava was saying, why did you do it all 17 times, but then he was concerned about it now? Is that what you said, Madhava?
Yeah, because he spared Jarasandha 17 times and killed all Jarasandha's men 17 times. And now he wants to spare Jarasandha's men and kill Jarasandha.
Well, the first part is what Krishna said, that it is said, I think in the Krishna book, that he did want to use Jarasandha to bring him more demons to kill.
Right.
But the second part, that's a good point. I don't know.
The answer to that is I don't know, but I could look it up for you.
who was voting?
Yeah.
He brought Bhima to come, and they had this huge fight. And so we're still talking about it now, 5,000 years later, about how Bhima
Bhima killed Jarasandha.
That's what we're
To glorify his devotees. Very good point. Thank you, Mother Krishna. Yes, Mother Haridwani.
I reread that part in Mahabharata recently, and just like some details that are a little interesting. Jarasandha's wives were twin sisters from Kashi, and when he married them, he had to vow that he would treat them equally, that he would never favor one or the other. So when, or not him, his father,
Brihaspati.
father, yeah, Vietnam. So he had to make that vow. So then when the sage was meditating after he had been asked to provide a son, and this mango fell in his lap. And so then also with his Shakti, he imbued the mango with the potency for a child to appear. But because he had made had made that vow, he cut the mango in two and gave one to each wife. And that's the fatal flaw, I guess, or like everything, of course, according to Krishna.
Well, that doesn't
And when these great demons, I always, it's easy to think like, oh, this guy is this. But actually, like, it's so amazing that they're playing their part so expertly. Like Krishna said, 5,000 years later, we're still talking about the Leela and how they were actually serving the Lord by performing these horrible things. And then another thing I read was that he was actually waiting to get 100 kings. He was like at 86, I read, and he was waiting to get 100 kings, and then he was going to, at least this batch of them, then he was going to do away with it. And many of them were actually from the Yadava tribe. And so Krishna was especially concerned.
Thank you. Anything else? Kavada?
Does he want to say
Dilanda? Bhakti? Ashika Prabhu? Okay. Alright, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.